At Citi Field in New York, Pix 11 Sports presents New York Mets baseball today. The Mets play the San Diego Padres. New York Mets baseball is brought to you by Hyundai. It's go time at the Hyundai Summer Sales Event. Hyundai, not just new, better. By Fios. Fios is not cable. We're wired differently. Visit getfios.com. By the Kia Top Quality Sales Event. Visit tristatekiadealers.com to learn more. By Raymore and Flanagan Furniture, furnishing your style. By Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center. And by Toyota. The annual clearance event is going on now. Toyota, let's go places. Lady Liberty. We need liberty from the heat wave. It's been going on a shade too long. Can you imagine running in the park today?
Not at this moment, no.
Wow. But there are toy trucks to be had. That's one happy customer coming into Citi Field. And a pleasant good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Citi Field. Gary Cohen, Keith Hernandez with you today as the Mets play the rubber game of their series, the San Diego. Mets won in 11 innings last night, and they got off to a quick start last night thanks to the speed of Jose Reyes. The Mets have been lacking speed all year. Reyes came back from the disabled list last night, drew a leadoff walk to get aboard to start the night for the Mets, and then on a short wild pitch, he was off and running, went to third base on an errant throw, and moments later came home with the first run of the game on a Neil Walker base hit. It's something Met fans got used to seeing for years with Reyes in the leadoff spot during his initial tenure with the Mets. And even though he's now 33 years old, he brings the Mets an element they just haven't had this year with his speed.
And he really hasn't caught on fire yet, Gary, offensively. He gets into one of those hot streaks where he gets on base on a consistent basis. He can make those sort of things happen. And the Mets aren't a team that can manufacture runs all year long. They've relied on the home run. So this does give the Mets a different element up there at the top of the order. And with Cabrera and Cespedes just about ready to come off the DL, I believe Friday, the reinforcements are on the way. And this was a big win last night.
Mets will try and finish off the homestand with a victory with left-hander Steven Matz on the mound. Pitched very well his last time out, but threw a career-high 120 pitches.
Well, he's been spotty all year. Got off to the great start, lost 5 in a row. He had a win against the Marlins on the 24th of July, but his last 3 starts, he's 0-2 with a no decision. But I don't feel he's pitched that badly. He's never pitched against the Padres. He's looking to end this homestand, on a positive note.
Clayton Richard began the year with the Cubs, let go. This will be his first start of the season.
Well, 27 relief appearances with the Cubs, an ERA over 6. And he's had 2 relief appearances with the Padres, an inning and a third. He's given up a run. So it's been a really, really, really tough year for him. He is winless in 4 appearances, 4 starts here at Citi Field, 0-2.
Faced the Mets in the League Championship Series last year for the Cubs, did well. Coney Island, good place to cool off on a hot day. Here at Citi Field, it's the Mets and Padres. All the action coming your way on Pix 11. New York Mets baseball is brought to you by Modell Sporting Goods, your fan gear headquarters. Come on, Met fans, you gotta go to Moe's. Get to Citi Field for Family Sunday, August 28th. Watch the Mets play the Phillies at 1:10. The first 15,000 fans in attendance will receive a Steven Match lunch bag, courtesy of Mr. Softy. After the game, all kids 12 and under can run the bases in the Mr. Met Dash, courtesy of Northwell Health. For tickets, visit Mets.com/Family Sundays. Themes of the game brought to you by Hyundai, not just new, better.
Well, Gabriel Ynoa got his first career relief appearance and got a W out of it. Good morning to the big leagues. Good afternoon. Mr. Matz has been very outstanding in the afternoon, and we'll say good night to you from Phoenix tonight. Wilmer Flores last night, though, got his 5th career walk-off RBI.
The mound is waiting for Mr. Matz. It's the Mets and the Padres on a hot afternoon. First pitch is coming right up. Hit back through the middle, grabbed by the second baseman Ship. He throws it wide. Walker scores, and the Mets win the ball game. Flores puts it in play. Walker races home, and the Mets snap their 4-game losing streak with an 11th inning win. 5th career walk-off RBI for Wilmer Flores last night lifted the Mets to a victory. Now they'll try and get a series win as Steven Matz digs his way into the rubber.
Nice shot right there. I love when they do this before the game at angles you don't see. You know, so usually where the Gophers are looking. Right there, looking up.
And the lineup Mats will face for the Padres, brought to you by the Honda Summer Clearance Event. With a left-hander on the mound, Alexi Ramirez, Derek Norris, Adam Rosales all make their first starts of the series. Padres are hitting .275 against lefties this year, just .230 against righties. And they have a winning record against left-handed starting pitchers.
16-13 to be exact. And there's Steven Matz's numbers. 22nd start, 8-8. We all know about his tremendous start of the season and how it's been a little rough going. Lost 8 of his last 9 decisions, and that's over 12 starts. It's had some starts and stops. He hasn't pitched so terribly. This is a learning year for him. And the Honda defense with the Mets is Ty Kelly getting the start out in left field today. A left-hander on the mound. It's about all the lefties. So Rivera, TJ, gets the start at third, a right-hand hitter, and Flores at first base, and Rivera behind the plate.
Travis Jankowski leads off. Matz's first pitch is in for a strike, and we're underway. Jankowski 1 for 7 in this series. He has struggled against left-hand pitching, just 4 for 40 against lefties this year. And Matz misses high, a ball and a strike. Matz was in position to win his last start. Remember, Neil Walker hit a 2-run homer in the inning in which he was pinch hit for. The Mets were ahead, but the Diamondbacks rallied against Hansel Robles, and that cost Matz a chance for a win. But he gave up just 2 solo home runs over 6 innings in that game, struck out 9. Certainly a very encouraging start for Steven after a rough one at Yankee Stadium. And he misses away and falls behind 3-1. And it's up and in, ball 4, and a leadoff walk to Jankowski. Second straight game that Jankowski has walked leading off the game, and he's reached base safely in all 3 games in the first inning.
And he's played a very, very impressive center field, and he's also got 25 stolen bases.
He has not stolen in this series. Matz has been very vulnerable to the stolen base. He's given up 20 and 25 tries, including 3 in his last start. He'll face Will Myers, who's 1 for 6 in this series, hit the tying home run in the 9th inning against Jerry's Familia last night. And we'll see how Matz handles the running game today. It was a huge concern for him and for the Mets in the entire last series against Arizona. Mets have done a better job against the running game in this series against a better base stealing team. But the Padres have not had a whole lot of base runners. There goes Jankowski, first pitch. Matz picks him off, and a balk is called. A balk called against Matz, and Jankowski go to second. Matz tried to adjust in midstream there after he saw Jankowski take off, but did not step toward first base.
First base umpire Carlos Torres. Yeah, look at where he stepped, Gary. There was nothing wrong with it except he just was stepping home just practically, and that's not going to cut it. It's a 45-degree angle that you have to step, and you can see he was way off balance. He knew it.
So a runner in scoring position for the Padres.
Well, another blistering day, folks.
96 degrees at game time. There's a little more breeze today, so that helps a little bit. Not much.
97 degrees and rising. Gary loves it. We made Gary turn the air on today, folks. We're not going to sit here and suffer all afternoon. He had to acquiesce to our demands.
I conceded willingly.
There you go.
Who's Hot, brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Well, I said it was 96. You said it was 97.
But look at the heat index, 100. That's what you go by.
Anything that starts with a 9,
well,
it's going to be pretty warm.
Mid-90s is hot.
Well, tomorrow night the game time temperature will be right around 106.
Yes.
When we're in Phoenix, of course, they'll have the roof closed there. Curveball bounced foul. It's 2-2 to Myers.
Myers hit a big home run last night. Got a fastball off of, they're staying cool, off of Familia. Jay Urias, a sinker that did not sink, right down the pipe, and he launched it. It was way out.
Down here for Solarte waiting on deck. Jankowski at second and nobody out. And Myers goes after the fastball out of the strike zone, and Matz has the first out of the day.
Well, we've always said it takes a while for these guys to get the cobwebs out on these day games. You see a lot of gift at bats here. Chased a bad one there. Good fastball from Matz.
Stevens struck out 9 in 6 innings in his last start. Has his first strikeout in this game. Now he'll take on Yangervis Solarte. 1 for 7 in this series. He's hit for a higher average right-handed this year, and he takes a strike. Solarte 321 right-handed, 280 left-handed. Good curveball by Matz gets him ahead 0-2.
Last time out, Matz was throwing some good hard breaking balls like this down and in to the lefties. A little down tilt. He masters that. That's a recipe for wins and success.
Got to watch out for Jankowski here. Walker's keeping an eye on him. Oh, 2 to Solarte, and the curveball fouled off. Mets and Padres split a 4-game series in San Diego back in May. They've split the first 2 games of this series. Mets began this homestand with high hopes with 9 straight games against the bottom 2 teams in the NL West, but got swept by Arizona. Lost the first game of this series before scratching one out last night. There goes Jankowski. The throw by Rivera in time, and he got it.
Oh, I'm going to check that one. That's close.
Good throw by Rivera. The only question was whether TJ Rivera got the tag down in time.
Did you notice the proper tag, too? He went right down and snapped that glove down. Right in front of the bag. That's how you make a proper tag. He's safe. I think he got there, Gary.
Now we'll see whether the Padres challenge it.
It's close, isn't it?
Do you want to use your challenge in the first inning for something that close? That's what Andy Green and his replay coordinator need to decide.
Here we go.
That's one where you might get the call, but you also might not. They're
would.
taking a long time to decide. This is way too long.
Come on, take charge.
And the home plate umpire Greg Gibson's walking over toward the third base dugout, and either they've got to challenge it or not, and they have decided to challenge. So they'll go to the headsets and see what transpires.
That's Mark McGuire right there on the left of your screen. He is the bench coach with the San Diego Padres.
Well, Rene Rivera got the throw to third in plenty of time, but it looked as though Jankowski might have gotten his hand into the bag before TJ Rivera put the tag down on his forearm. Play under review brought to you by Mazda. Driving matters.
Here we go. A little. I think he. That's a tough one. Does a tie base go to the runner, Gary?
It does, but
that's what I thought.
I mean, remember that the call on the field was out, and so you need determinative proof. And it's going to be an interesting call for the guys in the replay center. Fielding Colbreth and Dale Scott have their crews in Chelsea this week. Here's a little closer view.
And remember, it's got to be conclusive.
And they have confirmed the out call, or at least allowed the play to stand. So there was not enough evidence to overturn. And that's the second out of the inning, and the Padres have lost their challenge. So the call goes the Mets' way. Padres lose their challenge. Caught stealing for Rene Rivera as Jankowski's thrown out. 1-2 to Solarte, and he strikes out on the curveball, inning over. Matz with a couple of strikeouts gets the benefit of the caught stealing after his balk, and the Mets come to bat with no score. Brought to you by the Honda Summer Clearance Event. Ty Kelly gets his third start. So does T.J. Rivera, as the Mets try and cram as many right-handed bats as possible into the lineup against the left-hander Clayton Richard.
There's Mr. Richard. If he was French, it would be Richard, but he's not. He's American, so it's Clayton Richard. 15 in the third, 25 hits, too many walks, too many hits. Look at the batting averages left and right in your splits. Oh my goodness, it's been a struggle.
He was a valuable starting pitcher for San Diego for 5 years between 2009 2013. 140, lost 39. And he went to the Cubs last year as a relief pitcher and had a pretty good season. Jose Reyes leads off. And Richard slings one in for a strike, 0-1.
Jose hitting much better from the right side of the plate than the left early in his comeback here in the Met uniform.
Smacks one out to center field. And Jankowski has plenty of room going back.
Jankowski just roams out there with ease. Really smooth. And we'll take a look at your Padre defense, and that's brought to you by your Tri-Honda dealer. It's the same outfield they've had out there throughout the series. A couple changes in the middle infield. Alexi Ramirez and Adam Rosales get the start today. They were out early in this heat, folks, getting ground balls. No one hit on the field today.
There's Ty Kelly, 1 for 3 in the series.
And Gary, you made a comment about the Met uniform, this throwback to our '86. You know, they just need to wear them. They don't look good baggy. You got to have them tight like Mazzelli used to wear them. You remember?
Well, I know a lot of the women in our audience who watched Lee early in his career remember.
With those speed skating legs of his.
And Richard falls behind on Ty Kelly, 3-0. Kelly 5 for 14 as a right-hand batter. He swung better from this side of the plate. Getting the start in left field today, giving Curtis Granderson a day off. And Richard walks him on 4 pitches, and the Mets have their first base runner of the day.
Well, Clayton Richard's motion is very much almost like Bumgarner, but a lot more like Bob Nepper, a little slinger from the side, which means you're going to have a hard sinker in on the left-hander's hands, away from the right-handers, and kind of he doesn't get on top of that slider. He's vulnerable to throwing a flat breaking ball.
And unlike most lefties, he works from that extreme first base side of the rubber, so he creates quite an interesting
It's a crossfire.
Angle.
Yeah. Crossfire.
Here's Neil Walker with 1 out and 1 on.
So, well, those kind of pitchers, Gary, and Nepper was one of them, I found the one way to counteract their deception, that is deceptive, is to I always made sure that my eyes were parallel to the ground. When they're throwing out here 3/4, your tendency is to tilt your head like Granderson does. And then the big key is to keep your eye level, your eyes parallel to the ground. For some reason, I was able to see the ball better from his funky delivery and point of release. It helped me.
And Richard, who's got a very deceptive move to first base and has picked a lot of people off in his career.
Yep, he's got a good one.
Meanwhile, he's missed with 6 in a row out of the strike zone, falling behind Walker 2-0. Neal had 2 more hits last night, scored the winning run in the 11th inning, and he takes a strike 2-1. Neal now over the last 17 games hitting .456. He's just been scalding hot as the Mets try and keep their heads above water. Jay Bruce waiting on deck.
I believe in the throes of that slump that he went into. His average got down as low as 238, 239. Now look at it at 275.
And don't forget about his base running in the 11th inning last night, going first to third on James Loney's hit to left. Very aggressively and very wisely putting himself in position to score the winning run. It's a double play ball right at Rosales. And Ramirez with a turn wide throw, but Myers able to stay on the base for the 4-6-3 double play. Nice play by Myers to bail out Ramirez. And that gets Clayton Richard through the first inning.
Well, it's not good footwork here. Look at that. Please. A very experienced first baseman like myself would have made that look easy.
That's because you were the master. Not everybody can be the master. TD Bank, America's most convenient bank. Bad news abounding for the Miami Marlins, who lost yesterday. They're down 2-0 early today to the White Sox, and Giancarlo Stanton trying to stretch a single into a double, strained his groin last night, and he's gone on the disabled list. A little number off the bat of Alex Dickerson. Matt's off the mound, has to hurry, and he gets Dickerson by a stride for the first out.
Very nice, Steven. Didn't rush the throw. Long-legged kid, good athlete.
So 1 out and nobody on now. Jabari Blash. The bottom item on our Around the Majors had Madison Bumgarner in his performance last night. 7 scoreless innings against the Orioles. The Giants, with that win, improved to 9-17 since the All-Star break.
Well,
they've got a 1-game lead in the National League West, and of course the Mets will be in San Francisco for 4 games starting on Thursday night, and they'll probably face Bumgarner in the first game of that series. The Dodgers won yesterday, beat the Pirates to stay a game behind, and 4.5 clear of the field in the wild card race. And the Dodgers, who have had the best offense in the league since the All-Star break, get another pitcher back today. Brett Anderson, who had back surgery during spring training, makes his first start of the year today. It'll be their 13th different starting pitcher. That's grounded down to third, a foul ball. So the Dodgers are looking better and better with their offense clicking, their bullpen sharp, and all of a sudden their starting rotation looking a little healthier than it has, even without Clayton Kershaw. Jabari Blash 1 for 8 in this series, homered in the first game on Friday night, and he goes down swinging on the fastball. Third strikeout of the day for Steven Matz.
Well, Blash is that's 4 strikeouts the last 2 games, 6 strikeouts in this 3-game series. He's got lots of holes, but a strong guy. And make a mistake, he lost one in that first game, hit a home run.
Now the veteran shortstop Alexei Ramirez has been pushed into a reserve role. Nick Noonan has become the primary shortstop for the Padres. Ramirez has played there most of the year. Getting the start against the lefty today, and he takes low and in. Ramirez always a free swinger. 8 years in Chicago. Hit a lifetime .273 with the White Sox with 109 home runs. And that's pops the outside corner at 96. Derek Norris batting 7th in the order would be next. 1-2 coming, and Ramirez goes fishing for a curve and just got a piece of it.
I don't know how, but he did. I think one thing that Steven's going to learn to do, and I love the fact that he pitches right-handers so aggressively inside, but when he gets a little bit happy in there, that fastball in the outside corner, when he pounds in, it opens up the outside corner. He throwing 96 on the outside corner. That's going to be a difficult pitch.
Changeup grounded to Reyes. He throws out Ramirez. Side retired. Strong 1-2-3 inning for Steven Matz. No score going to the bottom of the second. Baseball is brought to you by the new movie Hands of Stone, the true story of Roberto Duran, starring Edgar Ramirez, Robert De Niro, and Usher.
No mas. Roberto Duran was terrific, and it's unfortunate that no mas, but it was against Sugar Ray, right? When he said no mas?
Sugar Ray Leonard.
It really hurt him when he did that, but he was one heck of a fighter. That was back, yep, it was all the days of Marvin Hagler, Sugar Ray, Tommy Hearns, who they found out real quick had a glass jaw, but he was fun to watch.
Jay Bruce leads off the home second against Clayton Richard. It's one straight down.
See, that's a swing right there, Gary, of not, I can't think of the right word. I will say it this way. He did not pick up the delivery and got completely lost the ball. And that's why that swing was such. And that's, Richard gets a great shot right here. That's what you're dealing with.
Now you would think then that Richard would have tremendous success against left-hand hitters, but so far this year lefties are hitting .389 against them. So how do you explain that?
But you got to look over his entire body of work.
Right.
Just hard to pick up. Turns the shoulder.
And he takes care of Bruce on 3 pitches for the first out.
He reminds me of Bob Knepper.
But he really does. And the delivery looks exactly like Knepper, you're right.
And when Knepper first came out, I remember talking to Mike Piazza. I mentioned Knepper being tough, and he goes, "Oh, Knepper, I killed him. He had put nothing." I said, "Mike, you faced him when he was old. When he came up with the Giants, he threw bullets." and Mike would, oh. I did not like facing Nepper. That was a hard day at the office.
There's Wilmer Flores, who had the walk-off RBI last night.
I know. Dave, I know what my lifetime VA off of Nepper is. It's 330, and guess what? It was hard work. It wasn't easy.
Well, I'm glad to see you were at least challenged. You wouldn't want it.
I wouldn't
let it come that easily.
We always look at the stats and who the next series, who we've got a 3-game series, who's pitching. Well, we'd go to the Giants or Houston, and I would be in hopes that there wouldn't be a Nepper on that list. But if Nepper was on that list, I'd get that day when he was pitching, I'd have to really get myself prepared mentally for a tough day, tough 4 at-bats.
Richard behind 3-0 on Flores, and Wilmer takes a strike. Wilmer's been crushing left-hand pitching all year. TJ Rivera hitting 6th in the order, waiting on deck. And Flores takes a borderline strike, 3-2.
This has been a pitcher's crew here, these umpires here, and it's fine with me. They have been very consistent behind the plate. The close ones go to the pitchers, and that's fine. You're aware of it, and you go to hitting.
And going to hitting is Flores, hitting it deep to left. Back goes Dickerson near the wall. It's out of here. Wilmer Flores strikes again, and he gives the Mets the early lead. 12th home run of the year for Wilmer Flores. Has now had 79 at-bats against left-hand pitching and 8 home runs.
Yes.
Better than a home run every 10 at-bats against lefties.
And that'll keep you in the big leagues at some level. Wilmer's got some pop. Stands fairly close to the plate. He likes that ball middle in, right around mid-thigh. Nice count.
So 1-0 New York. Now TJ Rivera. And he smacks one to left field, but Dickerson has this one lined up and holds the ball. Rivera heads to second, and he's in standing. Well, we talked about it in the first game of the series that Dickerson has got some depth perception issues in the outfield, and he appeared to have that lined up only to have it clank off his glove.
Well, and that's a definite clank.
It's an error all the way on Dickerson, allowing TJ Rivera to reach second. I don't think the sun was an issue. He has the flip downs on. He didn't flip them down. But that's really not the sun field at this time of the day.
He's in the shade there, looks like. Well, that's a cloud just going over.
Here's De Aza, takes a slider out of the strike zone.
So Wilmer always making a case for himself. You know, there is a place on the roster for him.
One to De Aza, who's 0 for 6 in this series. De Aza's actually hit better against lefties this year than he has against righties. 192 overall, 222 against lefties. And right now the Mets' most accomplished defensive center fielder. And that's giving him ample playing time. First run of the game brought to you by Dunkin' Donuts. America runs on Dunkin'. One and 2 to De Aza with Rene Rivera on deck. TJ Rivera, no relation, leading at second. TJ and Rene, this is becoming to Rivera Stadium.
Yes.
Good block by Norris to keep that ball in front of him. 2-2. Clayton Richard, 32 years old, grew up in Lafayette, Indiana, in the shadow of Purdue University, but defected and went to the University of Michigan.
Oh. Eschewed the Boilermakers.
Grounded down to Myers, and he'll take it himself to retire De Aza as TJ Rivera goes to third. MLB.TV Premium. Watch every out-of-market game live in HD on over 400 supported devices. MLB.TV Premium includes a free subscription to At Bat Premium. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. Now Rene Rivera into the start behind the plate. And he has swung the bat very well against lefties this year. So we'll see whether they pitch to him with the pitcher on deck. And apparently they will. And that one near his feet for ball one. We'll see the splits there on Rene, hitting .360 and limited at bats against left-handers. 35th game he started this year for the Mets.
A lot of sunflower seed chewers in the Major League Baseball today.
Rene, a former Padre, playing against his old team. And he goes after the changeup, 1-1.
I'm sorry, Gary. There you go. Thank you, Dan Barr, our director. I didn't like chewing them because they're salty and they make you dry and you're out there sweating. I never liked to chew sunflower seeds.
You can get the unsalted ones.
I know, but I was too lazy.
Bouncing ball toward the middle. Rosales on the backhand makes the toss to get Rene Rivera, and that retires the side. But the Mets grab the early lead. Wilmer Flores doing what he does, abusing left-handed pitchers. 12th home run of the year for Wilmer. And gets the Mets off to a good start. 1-0 New York after 2. To start your weekday, join Suki, Scott, and the Pix 11 News team with breaking news as it happens. Linda Church has your forecast 6 to 9 on the Pix 11 Morning News, bringing you the heart of the story. Today's high-speed pitch comes from your tri-state Ford dealers. Stephen Matz topping out at 96, and Clayton Richard at 93 through the first 2 innings. Derek Norris leads off against Stephen Matz. Norris, much like Alexei Ramirez, has moved into a subsidiary role after starting for most of the year. Last time we saw Derek Norris at Citi Field, it was that rainy 9th inning late last July. Norris was the batter after the rain delay with 2 out in the 9th. He had already had 4 hits in that game, and he came up against Jerry's Familia and got the hit that started the 3-run rally that led the Padres to the victory in that game in that incredibly topsy-turvy series of days in late July and early August. It really was the bottom of the Mets season. And Ronnie said it at the time during the game that if anybody other than Derek Norris had come up after that long rain delay in the 9th inning, probably game's over. But Norris needed a 5th hit, so he was focused, and he got the 5th hit. 2 batters later, Justin Upton hit the 3-run homer, and the Padres won the game.
I don't think I worked that game, but I do vaguely remember.
Anyway, Norris has struggled big time this year, hitting just 191, but he's a lifetime .424 hitter against the Mets, in part because of that 5-hit game. And Matz comes inside, 2-2. Norris, then Adam Rosales and Clayton Richard bat for the Padres in the 3rd. Matz walked his first batter this afternoon. He's retired everybody since. And he bounces the curveball, 3-2.
He gets very angry at himself. He's very, very tough on himself out there on the mound. You know, not everybody can make a pitch every time. He's the perfectionist. He demands that from himself, and I think he'll mellow, but never lose that competitive edge. The game comes a little bit more fun when you don't. I mean, it's a fine line between demanding and excellence from yourself and then demanding too much. It's always good to never accept failure and strive to be the best you can be.
3-2 coming. And that's in there, called strike 3. So Norris is caught looking for the first out of the inning. That's 4 strikeouts for Matz.
All those breaking balls, and then he popped a fastball. Caught him looking. That's knees.
So you strive for perfection, recognizing that it's just not possible.
Well, I've mentioned this story before. Tom Seaver, one of the greatest pitchers of all time. And he just said, Tom, when you had a 9-inning complete game shutout where you just dominated, how many bad pitches did you make in that game? And he said, maybe 3. Which is stunning. But it's not perfect. You get my drift.
So even if, as a pitcher, you throw a perfect game, it might not have been perfect.
Right.
Rosales lifts one to right. Jay Bruce has it lined up. I mean, that's always been one of my pet peeves, is that pitcher will pitch a terrific game and give up a home run, and they'll say he made 1 mistake. Well, he might have made 10 mistakes,
right,
but got away with 9 of them.
That's a very good point. That's why I like to watch the pitchers on the monitor. I can see when someone's throwing a gem.
Here's the pitcher, Richard, and he takes outside, ball 1.
And then there's those games, Gary, where you're throwing you've got great stuff and you're making great pitches and the hitters just are hitting them. You know, it happens.
The tip your hat games.
Exactly. Or my stuff's not good enough, but when it's the great pitchers and it's just one of those days then.
Good curveball by Matz, 1-2. Well, that's why you play 162 games.
Yes.
And as a pitcher, you get 32 starts.
That's right. And you get 600 plus at plate appearances. Cream comes to the top.
Richard rolls one down to first base. Flores takes care of that. 8 in a row retired by Steven Matz. 1-0 Mets in the 3rd. The Kia Top Quality Sales Event. Mets begin a 10-game road trip tomorrow night in Phoenix. 3 in Arizona, 4 in San Francisco, and 3 in St. Louis before the Mets get home.
Well, was it 46 left, huh? They're all going to count.
Be at Citi Field Saturday, August 27th. The Mets take on the Phillies at 7:10. The first 15,000 fans in attendance will receive a Matt Harvey bobblehead courtesy of Delta Airlines. For tickets, visit Mets.com/tickets. Well, the Mets begin the day 2.5 games off the pace in the National League wildcard race. They are benefiting from the fact that adversity has hit just about everybody in this race. The Cardinals lost 3 everyday players in about a week, including Matt Holliday. Marlins just lost Giancarlo Stanton and one of their starting pitchers, Adam Conley, who went on the disabled list today as well. Pirates have been up and down all year, and those are the teams the Mets have to catch. Steven Matz leads off on the home third and takes a strike from Clayton Richard. Matz has 5 hits this year. Steven might spend his entire career trying to duplicate his offensive performance in his first major league game.
Reach for the stars.
Went 3 for 3 and drove in 4 runs that day.
That was incredible. What a debut. He swings the bat well. He has a clue. More than a clue.
Grounds one down to third. Solarte plays the hop and throws out Matz one away. Now the Cardinals moved into that second wild card spot by beating the Cubs yesterday, while the Marlins were losing that wild 8-7 game to the White Sox. Pirates lost yesterday to the Dodgers. Game and a half back.
Cubs and the Cardinals at Wrigley as the night game tonight.
John Lackey going for the Cubs. And Mike Leake for the Cardinals in that game. Here's Reyes, who takes a strike. Reyes flying to center his first time up.
It's at the point now for the Cubs with a 13-game lead. It's good. You just can't. You got to avoid sweeps.
I don't think they have anything to worry about as far as the regular season is concerned. What they're battling now is history when they get to the postseason.
Right.
And as they get toward October, the conversation will get louder and louder about how long it's been for the Cubs franchise. 108 years creates a lot of conversation. I mean, think about how much the Red Sox had to hear before they finally won.
Right. And I think Madden is the perfect guy, along with Dusty Baker, to eliminate or diminish the pressure that they're going to be, the chatter they're going to hear. He's been saying, hey, welcome this, have fun. And I agree. And I think that he's such a positive thinker, Joe Madden, that I think it's going to have a positive effect. I have a pretty good feeling about this Cub team.
Well, we'll see. I mean, they looked very strong last year, and then the Mets swept them 4 straight games.
Well, they certainly got exposed, did they not?
Well, they had won 11 straight before the Cardinals beat them yesterday, and they certainly would appear to be home free in that division.
And they got Chapman now to close, and that's key. And Lackey's an upgrade for them also. He's a solid starter, gamer. Got him from the Cardinals.
Slowly hit. Richard off the mound, an off balance throw, and he gets him. Nice play by Clayton Richard. Well, he's a good athlete. Remember, he was a quarterback in Michigan as well as being a baseball player.
He could have been a quarterback at Purdue. He might have started there.
When he battled Chad Henne in spring drills, figured, I'm going to concentrate on baseball.
And it's a heck of a play. One way, either way you slice it, with a Purdue uniform on, a Padre uniform, or the blue and maize. Very nice. Off balance. It's an athlete.
Richard was part of that Cubs team that lost to the Mets in the LCS last year. He actually pitched better than most of his peers in that series. Ty Kelly drew a walk his first time up. Back to the Mets sweep of the Cubs last October. Richard pitched in all 4 games, worked 4 scoreless innings. The only thing he couldn't do was get Daniel Murphy out, but then nobody else could either. But Murphy at least didn't take him deep. He went 2 for 4 against Richard in that series with 2 singles.
If you look back at that playoff, the Mets run to the World Series, they beat all the top flight pitchers, and Conforto the home run. It's just incredible what they did. Murphy was just off the charts.
Well, that's the thing. It wasn't just that Murph homered in 6 straight postseason games, which nobody ever done before. It's who he hit them off. Greinke, Kershaw, and Arrieta, and Lester. I mean, it's crazy.
And he's carried it over this year. Looks like he is the front runner for MVP.
Myers having trouble seeing it in the sun, but gets to it and makes the catch, and that retires the side.
I think he was Deaconess.
Maybe. Oh, he's looking up again. He had his issues. 1-0 Mets after 3. Telecast will be Saturday, August 27th. When the Mets come home, they'll be playing the Phillies. 7 o'clock game, Saturday, August 27th, right here on Pix 11. Fourth inning, second time around the batting order for Steven Matz. Travis Jankowski leads off and takes a fastball for a strike. Jankowski's been the only base runner for San Diego. He walked. Wound up being caught stealing third in the opening inning, so Matz has faced the minimum through the first 3. And Jankowski chops one. Matz waits for it and throws him out, 1 away. Yesterday, Jacob deGrom faced the minimum for the first 6 2/3 innings before he gave up a home run to Yangervis Solarte. And here Matz facing the minimum so far. The Padres had a ridiculous stretch. They went the entire game Friday night and the first 6 innings yesterday without leaving a runner on base. And in yesterday's game, they only left 1 runner in 11 innings. So that's 20 innings in the series, 23 now, and they've had 1 runner left on base. I've never seen anything like that.
And you've paid attention to that sort of thing a lot longer than I have. When I played, I couldn't be bothered with all that.
What did you concentrate on statistically when you were playing? Did you just think about your own batting average? Did you think about the scores of the games? What things went through your mind when you were playing in terms of numbers?
In terms of numbers, of course, you're always aware of, you know, where you are with your at-bats, whether you're 0 for 3, 0 for 1, 1 for 1. You know, you're always aware of that, and you're always, if you're 1 for 1, you want to be 2 for 2. If you're 2 for 2, you want to be 2 for 3 for 3. So you're aware of that. I was more in terms of the numbers you looked after the game. You know, when you got the sporting page and you looked at the numbers, but I always had a pretty vivid memory of who did what and what particular play that cost us the game, whether it was defensively or offensively, how well our pitchers pitched. You know, I was aware of that, the visual. But right, numbers,
they don't mean that much to you unless it's your own numbers, is what you're saying.
Yes, and you know, baseball's a funny game. You know, you're not going to have a championship team with a team that's 15th in the league in offense and in runs and 15th in ERA. You're going to be a last place team.
Myers goes down swinging. 5 strikeouts for Matz, who's now set down 10 in a row.
I think, well, no matter what happens this year, I think Steven Matz, and I also feel DeGrom and Syndergaard, this will just be such a learning year from them, whether the Mets go to the playoffs or they go home. I think for those young pitchers in the rotation, it's going to be just a real learning experience for them. I mean, really for Matz and for Syndergaard, the first full season. DeGrom has been around a little bit longer, but not much. DeGrom had to battle through a tough first half, unlucky. So this is all good. It's all adding up to what makes you become a seasoned veteran.
1-1 to Solarte, and he takes it high. So when you say learning experience, you just mean in terms of getting out there start after start, or is it something more than that?
In this case, this is the first experience with bone chip strike inside corner, dealing with that aspect, Matz and Syndergaard. A lot of blown up in the papers about how they were the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, and
Solarte lines it right back to Matz. Quick hands, side retired.
So, you know, it's hard work. It's hard to maintain over a course of a year. You're going to have your ups and downs, and how you manage that ship and get it to the safe harbor through the season.
Frustration for Solarte. Matz has retired 11 in a row. 1-0 New York. On a hot afternoon in New York, Mets with a 1-0 lead. Mets Health Report brought to you by Affinity Health Plan, serving the needs of New Yorkers for over 30 years. Yoenis Cespedes eligible to come off the disabled list Friday and expected to do so. He's going to start a rehab assignment tomorrow. He'll DH for St. Lucie in his first game and then play the outfield. And the Mets certainly will be thrilled to have Cespedes' bat back in the lineup and hope that that quad, which was such a concern for a month before he finally went on the disabled list, will be a thing of the past.
Walker cracks one to deep center field. Jankowski going back near the wall. It's out of here. Number 21 for Neil Walker, and the Mets have a 2-0 lead.
Well, that was crushed. Too much plate and down, but still you got to hit it in a deep part of the ballpark.
21 home runs for Walker, 7 of them as a right-hand batter. That's more right-handed home runs this year than he had in his entire career before this season.
In 92 at-bats, Gary, 7 home runs. So you go 6 times that, 600 at-bats, 6 times 7, that's a 42 home run pace.
Hey, Bruce having no luck against Clayton Richards so far.
Ball just crushed.
Well, Walker 2 years ago hit 23. That was his career high with the Pirates.
He's going to break that, bar injury.
Bruce struck out on 3 pitches his first time up. And Richard almost had him flailing, but he stopped the swing in time. 1-2. It's been a rough series for Bruce, just 1 for 10 in the 3 games, and just got a piece of that.
You can see that Bruce is having difficulty picking the ball up. He looks uncomfortable at the plate. What can you do to correct that? He's out in front pulling off a bit. And you can see out in front of that breaking ball, pretty quick work done by Richards. It's just you've got to force yourself to try to wait, and it's easy for me to sit up here on my fanny and I'm not in the box. And you just have to fight and say, okay, I am going to get jammed here. But I am not going to, I'm going to cover the outside part of the plate. I'm going to try to go over the shortstop's head. And when you got a guy with a difficult motion to pick up, everything speeds up, Gary. It's hard to stay rhythmic in your attack mode. So it's all the little intricacies of the game and the things that you have to do. And you have to forego power. If you've got a pitcher that you can't pick up, and you see what happened to Bruce in the first, Bruce has got 27 home runs, correct? 27, 28?
Yep, 27.
You got to forego the home run. You can't swing for the downs. You got to just go short, not short enough. Be compact, go up the middle.
Well, there's got to be also, when you come to a new team, a different level of anxiety trying to make a good impression your first 2 weeks
Sure.
with the new team. It's got to play into it too, doesn't
Sure. It's a disruptive year for Mr. Bruce. You know, coming from a Cincinnati Red team that was awful, and he's having a great year, and coming to a team that's contending. You got to move mid-season. It's a new environment, new teammates, new fan base, which creates its own pressure. Have wanted to do well. Wilmer walks right there. Want to do well in front of your new fan base. It's a whole different comfort level and maybe a discomfort level. So this is a very disruptive year. I was 84 for me when 83 when I got traded over here in mid-season. That was one of the most difficult years of my 17 years in the big leagues.
But wasn't that a little bit different because you were coming to a team where there were no expectations?
Yeah, but still, it still was a lot. They were very thrilled to have me. I sensed that.
Well, anybody would be.
And it was a tough year for me, you know, just not having a place to stay. The first homestand, I stayed in the hotel over by LaGuardia. My family came. Jay Horowitz got me a place to stay. The home, we stayed out in Greenwich. I wasn't real thrilled about staying out in Connecticut.
Wilmer takes off. He gets picked off and tagged out. Flores, who is not a base stealer, going first movement on Clayton Richard, who's got a great pickoff move, and that turned out to be not a very good idea.
I've always wondered, the real smart pitchers that pick off a lot of guys and get them caught stealing, do they have like ESP? Do they have a sense about them when to go over to try to pick off a runner when he's trying to steal? Because it always felt that way.
T.J. Rivera lines one into center field for a base hit. So a 2-out single for Rivera. Well, I wonder all the time with left-handers, can they wait long enough?
I don't know.
With that leg hanging,
I don't know.
to see you take off and then go to first?
I've never asked that question of a left-hand pitcher who I played with in my entire career. I never asked.
But I mean, where's Wilmer Flores going?
He's trying to sneak.
But that's not his game.
I understand.
So now Rivera at first with 2 out. Here's De Aza, and he gets tied up. Takes inside.
I don't mind Wilmer trying to steal that base, to be honest with you. I really don't. It's a left-hander out there. He took a chance that he can break on the belt.
Wilmer has 2 career stolen bases, and now he's been caught twice. De Aza grounded out to first base his first time up. Rivera's not a big base stealer. Had 3 in 6 tries in Las Vegas. Has yet to attempt one of the majors. And De Aza takes a fastball for a strike, 1-1. And De Aza asked for time late and was granted it. Greg Gibson certainly exercising his vocal cords.
Very emphatic. I like that. Umpires are supposed to take charge. They're in charge.
I don't know if Greg Gibson is #1 on the decibel scale in the big leagues. Jim Joyce might have him.
Jim Joyce is the big guy. In our day, Dutch Rennert was the big guy, and Dutch Rennert was one heck of an umpire.
Dutch had that weird move where he would step back and then turn to the side when he called strikes.
There's a lot of energy that Dutch put into making a call, a called strike.
And De Aza flailing at 1 for strike 3. And Richard has his 3rd strikeout of the day. But the Mets expand their lead. Neil Walker with his 21st home run of the year. What a year he's had as a right-hand batter. That came out of nowhere, and he's kept it going all season. 2-0 Mets after 4. of architecture in the Manhattan skyline.
I went to a party up there one time in the winter. There's an apartment up there. I don't know which floor up high. That was just a magnificent apartment. Old woodwork. It was just stunning.
The Ozza reels in Alex Dickerson's fly ball. 1 pitch and 1 out for Steven Matz in the 5th. Not sure when or the last time I was ever even in the Chrysler Building, but looking at it,
it's beautiful.
It's magnificent.
It is.
Never tiring.
From my old condo, out of my master bedroom, the window looks south. The Chrysler Building was right there, in plain sight. It was just a beautiful thing.
Jabari Blash takes a fastball for a strike. The Mets have learned their lesson with Blash, who homered on Friday night. They're pitching him upstairs consistently now and having success with it. He's struck out 6 times now in 9 at-bats in this series. This is the farthest Matz has ever gone into a game without giving up a hit. And he throws one by Blash, 1-2. Last night, Jacob deGrom gave up his first hit after 4 1/3. Out of Blash, 2-2. Steven has struck out 5. He walked 1. He walked the first batter he faced today, and he's retired 12 in a row since. Two coming, and it's hit to center. Easy for De Aza. Can of corn, 2 out. So 2 out and nobody on. Now Alexei Ramirez, who grounded out to short his first time up. Ramirez hasn't had a great season, but he has hit lefties well. He's hitting .290 against left-handers coming into the day. Misses 1-1. Well, you can never accurately say how any athlete feels physically. But Terry Collins made the point today that he thinks Max is having less pain in his elbow, which is going to have surgery at the end of the year to remove a bone spur. And it certainly reflected in his performance these last 2 starts. It's looked like a pitcher who's pitching a little more free and easy.
Well, what I see is the curveball and getting more downward tilt on his slider, which shows me that he's getting more and more confident. Nice shot right there of the coaching staff.
Rolled to short. Now Reyes with the strong arm throws out Ramirez. 5 hitless innings for Steven Matz. He's retired 14 in a row. Halfway through, 2-0 New York. Next stop for the Mets, it's the desert and the Red Rocks of Arizona. Chase Field, where the Mets will be playing tomorrow night. Mets looking for some revenge after getting swept in a 3-game series by the D-backs here at Citi Field. For more on Arizona, let's check in with Doug Williams. Doug?
Yeah, Gary, hope those extensive packing plans you guys talked about yesterday have been taken care of. But now the Mets head to Arizona. Obviously, they know the Diamondbacks very well after they came here and swept them. But ever since they left Citi Field, things have been disastrous for them. They got outscored in the first 2 games of that series, 15-7. They're already losing 9-0 right now in Boston with Zach Greinke on the mound. And an interesting thing about the D-backs, they came here, obviously, they performed well. They're a 500 team at home. On the road, excuse me, at home. They are 19-39 this season, so the Mets actually may have an advantage traveling out to Arizona, guys.
Rene Rivera leads off in the home 5th, and the Diamondbacks made a move with their rotation. They pulled the guy who's supposed to be their second best starter, Patrick Corbin, out of the rotation. He was supposed to go Wednesday. Zach Godley, who had been bumped to the bullpen, goes back into the rotation. He'll make the start Wednesday against Jonathan Neese.
Very good hitting ballpark in Phoenix. Ball carries there. It's a hitter's haven.
Steven Matz on deck. Rivera grounded out to second his first time up. That's rolled over the bag. Backhanded by Solarte, and the long throw right on target, 1 away.
Well, one thing's for certain in the next 3-game series coming up in Phoenix. There you see just inside the bag right there. Nice backhand by Solarte. Is Mr. Goldschmidt is not going to get a chance to drive in any runs. He just killed the Mets this 3-game series. Every time they came up with men on base, he delivered.
Well, the thing about the series here is that the Mets went after Goldschmidt in a few spots where you'd think they might have pitched around him. And the reasoning was that Jake Lamb, who was hitting behind him, is having a better year than Goldschmidt. But Lamb looked awful in the series against the Mets. Big cut by Matz, 1-1.
They handled Lamb, but Goldschmidt just showed some professional hitting in my mind.
Well, he's an elite player.
He hit the ball down the line. He hit the ball to the right opposite field gap. He hit a couple down the right field line. Hit the ball where it was pitched. He used the whole field in the series. And we don't see enough of these guys. I mentioned before, you go 3 here, 3 there, you might catch him in a slump. This is the first time that I've really seen Goldschmidt have a really terrific series, and why he is one of the best hitters in the game.
3-1 to Matz, and he takes a wide ball for us. So Steven draws a walk. The third given up by Clayton Richard this afternoon. New York Mets baseball is brought to you by your Tri-Honda dealer. Hurry into your local Tri-Honda dealer for great savings on 2016 models. So now Reyes, who's 0 for 2. Last time up, Richard made a nice play on a dribbler toward the third base line to throw him out. We'll say 0 for 6 in this series. And takes a cutter on the inside corner for a strike. Well, you got Matz running the bases on a 97-degree day. As a double play ball, he won't be running them for long. Rosales to Ramirez and on to first for the 4-6-3 double play, and that'll send Steven Matz right back to the mound where he's yet to allow a hit. 2-0 New York. New York Mets baseball is brought to you by Mohegan Sun. Full of action, full of possibilities, full of life. Steven Matz's left arm has had plenty of life this afternoon. He walked his first batter. He's retired 14 in a row since. Got the benefit of a caught stealing on a close play in the first inning. This is the furthest into a game any Met pitcher has gone this season without allowing a hit. Matt Harvey went 4 2/3 in Cleveland back in April, and now Matt has gone 5. He'll face the lower third of the San Diego batting order. Derek Norris, Adam Rosales, and Clayton Richard in the top of the 6th. Padres have their bullpen active now, so they might use a pinch hitter for Richard, who, remember, is making his first start of the year. Hadn't thrown more than 26 pitches in any game, so he might be done after 74 today. Meanwhile, Matt 66 pitches through 5 and set to face Norris, who went down looking at a third strike his first time up. Steven has struck out 5 through the first 5 innings. And Norris takes the curveball for ball 1.
Well, 2 games in a row now, starts in a row for Matz, where he's got that good downward tilt on that breaking ball.
Last start, he gave up a couple of solo home runs, one to Brandon Drury that was just a laser beam out to left, and then that opposite field home run to Paul Goldschmidt that barely cleared the fence. And that's all he gave up in 6 innings. And now he's quickly behind on Norris, 3-0. Remember also that Steven threw 120 pitches in his last start, which is the most he's ever thrown in a big league game, and the most any Met starter has thrown this year. And on a hot day, you wonder whether that has some residual impact as we get deeper into this game. 3-1 to Norris.
Hard thrower, 95. He can rush it up there.
And the curveball in for a strike. 3-1 curve, and it gets full on Norris. Adam Rosales sitting 8th in the order on deck. Norris struck out looking on a knee-high fastball last time, and he pulls that one foul. Got a changeup from that, and got out ahead of it.
Marlins retook the lead there, or came back. They're up 3-2 in 6th or 5th, looks like.
Too high, ball 4, and Norris is on with a leadoff walk. So after Matz had retired 14 in a row, he issues his 2nd walk of the day. And now Adam Rosales will come to bat. Rosales flied to right his first time up. Christian Bethancourt has come out on deck to pinch hit. That's a little odd. Not too many managers will use their backup catcher to pinch hit in the 6th inning.
Well, he's got Noonan, not Newman, and Bethancourt to choose from the right side. Oh, that's right here. You're right. Made a mistake.
Noonan, a left-hand hitter.
Yep. I mean, but put it on the wrong side.
So Bethancourt is the only
yes.
right-handed bat on the bench. But still, most managers would not do that this early in a game. Good fastball by Matz. And he's ahead on Rosales 0-2.
A lot of guys have that home run swing.
Rosales has hit a career high 8 home runs this year. 33-year-old journeyman. Norris at first and nobody out. Rosales takes the curveball in the dirt. 1-2. Rosales getting the start at second base today. Ryan Schimpf getting the day off against the lefty. He's had a huge impact on this series so far. Grounded down to third, waiting on it. Rivera gets the force at second, and that's all.
Very nice.
So Norris is erased for the first out. Rosales reaches on the 5-4 fielder's choice.
High chop. Get the lead runner. Gets rid of it quick with a little steam on it.
So now Christian Bethancourt will be the pinch hitter. Bethancourt started the first 2 games behind the plate. He's gone 1 for 8 in this series. He homered on Friday night. So Andy Green using his only available right-hand batter and his backup catcher. Leonel Campos, who's yet to work in this series, gets up in the San Diego bullpen. So Clayton Richard, first start of the season, did well. 5 innings, 2 runs, 3 hits, gave up a couple of solo home runs that have him in a 2-0 hole. Rosales at first and 1 out, and Matz checks on him. Bethancourt has been superb as a pinch hitter this season. 6 for 15 with a home run. And he goes after the first one and slams it foul. That one reached the Porsche grill.
It sure did. Right above that green and white subway sign.
Folks eating out on the front deck there.
They got a rude awakening.
Almost had a baseball in their soup. What's this in my vichyssoise? And the curveball in for a strike to Bethancourt. 0-2. Well, you can't say Bethancourt wasn't ready for that first fastball.
Thou shalt not pass when you pinch hit.
Travis Jankowski on deck. Matz ahead 0-2. And the curveball struck him out. Strikeout number 6 for Steven Matz. 2 down in the inning.
Heading the count. See if the fish are biting, and they were.
So now 2 out in the top of the 6th. Third time around the batting order. Travis Jankowski, who walked in the first, hit a comebacker in the 4th. Travis Jankowski, who played his college baseball at Stony Brook University against Steven Matz, who grew up in Stony Brook. So it's a town gown reunion. And a bunt attempt by Jankowski. Interesting. At what point in the game does it become not acceptable to bunt for the first hit?
Well, no. In a tight ball game, Gare, all's fair in love and war. No, I disagree. I was just asking a question. It's a very good. It was a nice play because you got a guy in the on-deck circle with over 20 home runs. Now Will Myers.
Now he's down on the count 0-2. You know, I go back to Tom Seaver's imperfect game in 1969 when Randy Hundley tried to bunt for a hit in the 9th inning.
Who was the score of that game again?
4-0. 0-2 coming. Slapped toward third, a foul ball. To Jankowski. Rosales runs, swung and fouled off. So Rosales was on the move with 2 strikes. And Jankowski with the emergency hack got a piece of it.
Yeah, Jankowski does not look good on this at bat at all against Matz.
Well, he's 4 for 41 against lefties this year.
And it's there in plain black and white for you to see. Well, actually color.
Well, the uniforms are gray. Steven about to throw his 85th pitch of the afternoon. Stairs 1-2. Rolled toward the middle. Walker over, makes the flip, side retired. And now it starts to get interesting. 6 hitless innings for Steven Matz. Mets will take a 2-0 lead at the bottom of the 6th. A Land Rover above and beyond. Solo home runs by Wilmer Flores and Neil Walker have given the Mets their 2 runs this afternoon. What else is new? How come TJ Rivera doesn't get his last name capitalized?
Oh, small cap. That's a no-no.
Maybe he already has 2 capital letters because of the initials. That's the limit.
You're grasping at straws. There's Leonel Campos coming into pitch. This is his 4th stint with this ball club. Most of the year in El Paso, only 10 2/3, too many walks.
He's had a smattering of action with the Padres each of the last 2 years. 29-year-old faces Ty Kelly, who turns around about left-handed for the first time today. And they put the shift on against Kelly.
Well, they must have scouted him.
I mean, that's a little surprising, right?
It is. It's, you know what? I'm kind of happy. I'm not happy. That's the wrong word. I can have a wry smile on my face when we've seen 2 situations: the runner on first base and shifts going. The runner going to first to third because of the shift. No one's covering the bag. They haven't thought about that. Guys racing from all over the field to get over to someone to cover third. Walker very heads-up base running last night in that final 11th inning.
And Neil made the point after the game last night, talking about that play where he went first to third. As an infielder, he knows how hard it is to try and catch that throw on the run, and for the outfielder to try and hit a moving target.
Correct.
And then get a tag down.
And Neil is running full steam ahead with momentum going forward. Yep. Oh, the
Kelly has to vacate.
So the third baseman on that play last night, which was Solarte, was playing where he is now on defense. He's
on the right side of the
right
infield.
Side of the infield, just to the right of second base. There he is up there, right near the umpire. He had to dash all the way over to third base.
And it was actually the pitcher, Maurer, who caught the throw from left field.
Exactly. So there is a flaw in this. That can't happen. It cost a ball game last night. It cost the Padres a ball game.
So what you're saying is, if there had not been a shift on, that Walker probably never would have attempted to go to third
I don't
base.
think he would have. I think he would have made a hard turn and thought twice about it. His whole judgment was, hey, I can beat the guy to third base.
Kelly draws a walk. Second time that Kelly's walked today, and the Mets have a leadoff base runner in the 6th. And here's Walker, who hit a home run batting right-handed his last time up.
Well, you got Campos out there with 8 walks and 10 innings pitched, and walks the leadoff runner in a 2-0 ball game.
And he's got the red-hot Walker to contend with now. He'll now with 21 home runs, 53 driven in. Kelly at first and nobody out. Walker takes low and in, ball 1. Well, Clayton Richard went 5 innings in his first start of the season and certainly acquitted himself well. 2 runs, 3 hits, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts, 2 home runs, 74 pitches. Padres knew he'd be limited because he's been relieving all year. One and 1 to Walker. One from Campos, and Walker bounces that slider foul. 1 and 2. Neal with his 21 home runs, now just 2 shy of his career high that he set 2 years ago. During this hot streak now, he's got 32 hits in 70 at bats. That's a 457 clip over 18 games. And among all his accomplishments, one thing Neal Walker has never done in his career, he's never hit home runs from both sides of the plate in the same game.
Oh, well, that's not easy.
Well, he's had so few right-handed home runs in his career before this season. He's got 7 this year. He had only 6 in his career before this season.
I played with 2 of the games at their in the 70s that were the 2 best switch hitters in the game. That was before Eddie Murray, of course, who was one of the greatest, and that was Ted Simmons and Reggie Smith hitting 3 and 4 in the lineup. 2 terrific switch hitters with power from both sides.
Of course, the Mets had a tremendous switch hitter here for 7 years in Carlos Beltran. Great home run hitting switch hitter in Howard Johnson. They've had a number of terrific switch hitters here. Todd Hundley, switch hitting catcher, terrific power hitter from both sides. 1-2 to Walker, up and away. They also had Carlos Baerga here for a while. Of course, he was on the downside of his career, but Baerga, when he was with the Indians, did something nobody else had ever done. He switch hit home runs in the same inning.
Ooh.
Did I mention Lee Mazzilli?
Yes, you. No, you didn't.
Not in that context. Another guy could do it from both sides of the plate.
1979 All-Star game.
Kingdome, opposite field, tucked it in the corner.
Left field line.
Against Jim Kern, right?
That was, yes, both our first All-Star appearances together. That's the great All-Star game that Dave Parker had. Made the great throws and was the MVP of that All-Star game, I believe. What a great player he was.
8th pitch of the at-bat to Walker, and he fouls one back. Walker making compost work. Walked his first batter, Kelly, on a 3-2 pitch. He's worked a 3-2 count to Walker. Neil Bruce waiting to hit next. That's last night went against type. They scored 3 runs and scratched out all 3. No home runs. Today, 2 solo home runs. Kelly not going. Walker's just got a piece, or did he miss? He missed it. Strike 3.
Going to be a little more emphatic with the call there. Everybody's waiting.
And it was dropped by the catcher Norris. That's what threw him off.
Fastball right down the middle. A little sink late. Yeah, he missed it.
Norris just failed to catch it. No harm done with first base occupied and less than 2 out.
Not too many balls Walker has missed lately.
So 1 out and 1 on. Now Bruce, who's been up twice, struck out both times against Clayton Richard. Only thrilled to see the lefty out of the game. Now facing Campos with 1 out and 1 on. Takes the fastball outside. Jay Bruce now 46 at bats over a dozen games with the Mets, just 7 for 46. In the next week, the Mets should get Yoenis Cespedes back into the lineup. Cespedes is eligible Friday and should be ready by then. They should also get Asdrubal Cabrera back on the lineup soon. But boy, would it help this offense if Jay Bruce can get it going.
Maybe he needs a right-handed bat in front of him.
Kelly at first and 1 out. And Bruce fouls it away.
Sometimes Jay doesn't get a lot of hip rotation. He gets a little stiff with his hips. I'd like to see him rotate his hips more. He's so doggone strong. He does like that ball middle in and down. He likes to stands reasonably off the plate. Not too far, not too close.
Two 1 coming, and he misses with the changeup. 3-1. Well, even with the struggles he's had in his couple of weeks as a Met, Bruce is still 3rd in the National League in home runs with 27, 3rd in the league in RBIs with 85. He put up quite an incredible first half with the Reds. Now he's got a hitter's count on 3-1. And he takes ball 4, so a couple of walks by Campos have put 2 men aboard.
This is the kind of pitcher in a little bit wild. I guess you can call him wild. He got a 100-degree day, high 90s, day game. You're an everyday player. But you skip. So don't bring these guys in. Bring guys in that throw strikes.
Well, here's Flores, who got the Mets started today with a home run in the 2nd inning. It was Wilmer's 35th career home run. His first career home run in 2013. He went to the opposite field against Heath Bell in Arizona. Hit it to right. He's hit since then 34 more home runs, 1 to center, 33 to left.
Pulling. Interesting.
Kelly at second, Bruce at first and 1 out.
This guy's all over the place.
Moore drew a walk in the 4th inning. Tried to steal, but was picked off by Clayton Richard and thrown out. Now facing a right-hander for the first time today, and it's been a struggle for Wilmer against the righties. And he loses the bat on the follow-through. That was weird.
Weird isn't the word. bizarre. That's why I never liked the gloves.
Was it the gloves' fault?
That can give you around 5 reasons why I didn't like gloves. That's one of them.
So Wonder Woman.
When you wear the gloves, you got a pine tar and you got a grip. So every time you swing the bat, it's cowhide, it's thin, and it stretches. When you first have the glove, it's like a golf glove. When you first have it, it fits you like a glove. And once it starts expanding and stretching, don't like it.
Popped up. Infield fly will be called. Batter is out. And Rosales squeezes it 2 away. Well, is that why we always see hitters readjusting the Velcro?
Yes.
Because it loosens up?
You're pulling them tight down. So yes. Dave's getting a little slap happy over there.
I'm not even going to tell you what he said.
You know
TJ Rivera.
What was the game he had where he had to sit on my right shoulder? Remember we didn't have enough room, Dave? Where in the heck were we? Yankee Stadium.
Oh, when
he was passing me the notes.
Yeah.
He's very peculiar, you know. He passes very peculiar notes.
Well, you also can't read him because his handwriting's so bad. TJ had a base hit to center field his last time up. First time up, he drove one out to left, and Dickerson dropped it for a 2-base error, but the Mets weren't able to cash it in. Kelly at second, Bruce at first with 2 out. And Campos misses low and away. It is a struggle. 26 pitches for Leonel Campos in this 6th inning.
Well, he's
getting more work to do.
He's getting a workout. He's burning some calories. I wish I can burn as many as he's burning out there right now.
I know a trainer. There's the 1-1. A little dribbler, tough play. Campos gets off the mound and throws out Rivera to end the inning.
Threw a strike.
No, he threw a strike to first. He threw a lot of balls to home plate, walked a couple, but got through it. Now Steven Matz, having not allowed a hit through 6, goes back to the mound for the 7th. Matz has been splendid this afternoon. He's only allowed 2 base runners, a couple of walks. He's only faced 1 over the minimum through the first 6 innings. Struck out 6 along the way. And he takes a no-hit bid into the 7th as Will Myers leads off and takes a curveball for a strike. Myers has been up twice and struck out both times. Matt's the first Met pitcher to carry a no-hitter into the 7th since Noah Syndergaard did just about a year ago against the Padres. Fouled away, 0-2.
You saw Myers' reaction on that. It was a hanging breaking ball, and he was tardy on it.
Oh-2 coming. Too high. Stevens worked at a rapid clip this afternoon. About to throw his 90th pitch of the day with nobody out in the 7th, and that'll certainly become an issue. 1-2. Too high. Remember, he threw 120 pitches 5 days ago against Arizona, most he's ever thrown in a game. And now a full count to Myers after he got ahead 0-2. It's walk 2. Both have come leading off innings. Solarte on deck, and then Dickerson. And Myers goes down swinging. Strikeout number 7 for Matz. 1 down in the 7th.
Good fastball. That's the fastball away I was telling you about, Gare. When you pound in, run that hard cheddar on the outside corner. Good pitch, Steven.
So 1 out in the 7th. Now Yangervis Solarte takes the curveball outside. Solarte had a line drive back at Matz that he snagged in the 4th inning. Probably the hardest hit ball against Steven today. And the fastball hit down the right field line. A long run for Bruce, and he gets there. 2 out.
Well done. What do you think, Gare? Pitch count?
I think the pitch count's going to become an issue really soon.
Oh man, how can you do that though?
Remember, the Mets have only had 1 no-hitter in their history, and the pitch count was a huge issue in that game.
Yeah, but it's a different circumstance.
Right back to Matz. Dickerson is retired, and Matz is through 7 with a no-hit bid intact. Stretch time, 2-0 Mets. Sunday afternoon in the park. Steven Matz, the hometown kid, having himself a memorable afternoon. Wilmer Flores and Neil Walker with home runs to help him out. But Matz has been center stage. 7 innings, no runs, no hits. And now the issue will begin to build with 6 outs to get from Matz about how far the Mets will push him in this game in terms of his pitch count. Out of Town Scores brought to you by the new movie Hands of Stone in theaters everywhere August 26th. White Sox have just tied up the Marlins 3-3. That's the game of most interest to the Mets on the scoreboard this afternoon. And tonight the Cardinals, who lead the Marlins by a half game and the Mets by 2.5 in the wild card chase, will be in Chicago. Line score brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. And the biggest number is in the H column for your San Diego Padres. And that's the history that Steven Matz is chasing this afternoon. And now the question starts to become, Keith, will the Mets give him a chance to get there? Now, he just had a 9-pitch inning, which certainly works in his favor. 95 pitches now through 7.
My feeling, Gary, is you were talking in the last inning about Santana's no-hitter. Well, that to me is a whole different breed of cat. It was an older pitcher. This is a young guy. His bone spur, okay, that's a point of concern, but he's young. He's feeling better. He's throwing fantastic. How many chances do you get at a no-hitter? I mean, I'm looking carefully at the 8th inning. If he gets a 1-2-3 inning and it's not too, I just think you got to let him go 9.
Well, it's going to depend. You're right on the 8th inning. Now, if he has an 8th like the 7th, I think you're right. He'll definitely go for it.
Well, even if he has a 35-pitch inning,
there's no chance. It's never going to happen.
I know.
I mean, remember also, I mean, if he was coming off.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. I was just going to say, if he was coming off a start where he threw 95 pitches the last time out, but he's coming off 120 4.5 days ago. And this organization has been so committed to protecting these young pitchers. It's hard to see a scenario where Terry will let him go much past 110, 115.
It's just, to me, it's how many. It might be his only opportunity to throw a no-hitter, and he's a young guy. He had 92 pitches 2 starts ago. So
it's going to be fascinating to watch because, you know, you remember how much angst Terry went through in 2012 with the Santana start. And as you said, the circumstances were different, but, you know, Santana was coming back from major shoulder surgery, and you know, Terry was, even at the end of that game, after Johan had pitched the no-hitter, Terry was still torn up inside.
And we were all 3 in the booth for that game, and all 3 of us were saying, oh, this is not good timing for a no-hitter. We weren't hoping for someone to get a hit. But this is a whole different ball game here with Mr. Matz, and boy, oh boy, it just may never happen again.
Santana wound up throwing 134 pitches in that start, and you know, the legend around that is that he never pitched well again after that. That's actually not true. He had a couple of really good games after that, including one at Dodger Stadium a few weeks later. But the fact of the matter is that he's never reached that pinnacle again. He's been trying to fight his way back ever since. And
he was getting on the backside of his career. He was an all or nothing pitcher. So much effort into every pitch. Matz has got a beautiful motion. Everything's in sync. He doesn't overexert himself. He's very rhythmic with his motion. Good pitch right there inside.
De Alza strikes out to start the bottom of the 7th. Second strikeout for Leonel Campos in relief.
Well, you can see the swing break down. That's what I don't like when they say keep your hands inside the ball. Well, how are you going to hit with bringing your hands into your waist? I mean, you might as well get a broom and go sweep.
Here's Rene Rivera, who's been up twice and grounded out twice. Slider by Campos, 0-1.
Who was the big first baseman, right-hand hitting first baseman with the Brewers in Seattle?
Richie Sexton.
He was the one that was the best. And I talked to Rod Carew about keeping your hands inside the ball, and Rod Carew didn't agree with it. He agreed with me, but he said Richie Sexton could do it.
Maybe because he was 6'8".
Yeah. I was always taught by my dad that those pitchers are out there making a living too, and they're going to get in there and jam you once in a while. It's going to happen. Ted Williams got jammed. Barry Bonds got jammed. Don't worry about it. That guy got jammed.
He was quick inside. One and two to Rivera. Steven Matz waiting for his turn on deck.
Well, he should get a nice ovation.
1-2 from Campos. Hits slowly. Solarte gloves and fires. 2 out. And now Matz. Steven has grounded out and walked today, 0 for 1. And he grounds one right at the shortstop.
He's taking his time to first base. Very wisely. Very wisely done.
Now he'll go back to what he was doing before.
He's paid to do.
Trying to keep his no-hit bid intact in the 8th. Brought to you by Land Rover, above and beyond. And Steven Matz has been above and beyond this afternoon.
I'll say.
That's why it's all zeros in those right 3 columns for the San Diego Padres.
Just 2 walks, and those are the only 2 batters he's allowed on base. 7 strikeouts.
He's faced 1 over the minimum, so he'll get 5, 6, and 7 in the San Diego batting order. Had his quickest inning in the 7th. A 9-pitch 1-2-3 inning.
Well, here we go.
Mets will get the bullpen busy. Addison Reed is up in case Matz needs help, but he's on his own to face Jabari Blash, and Blash fists one foul, 0-1. Blash is struck out and flied out 0 for 2. The 28th start of Steven Matz's major league career.
Still
misses high to Blash 1-1.
Sorry, Gary. Still throwing hard, 95, as he should.
And he threw it by Blash, 1-2.
He did throw that one by him. Terry Collins watching intently. Almost looks like he's in prayer.
1-2. Too high. And now Matz will throw his 100th pitch of the afternoon with 6 outs still to get. Alexei Ramirez on deck. And now a full count to Blash. Both of Matz's walks have come leading off innings. Jankowski in the first, Norris in the 6th.
I think he's pumped up, Gary. He knows what's at stake here. Put a little extra on that. Just stay within yourself.
Ran a full count to Myers leading off the 7th and struck him out. Now he's got a full count on Blash leading off the 8th. Struck him out.
Wow.
Number 8 for Matz. 5 more to get.
Right by him. Throwing bullets.
Now the veteran Alexei Ramirez, who's twice grounded to short, and takes a curveball for a strike.
Very nice. Both sides are aware there's a no-no here. Padres do not, as an opposing team, you do not want to be no-hit. They're up there focused to break up the no-hitter. Yes, sir.
1-2. Padres have never had a no-hitter. They're the only team in Major League Baseball that hasn't. They've been now no-hit 9 times. The last 2 times by Tim Lincecum in 2013 and 2014. Hit over the bag. That's a fair ball. And Ramirez breaks up the no-hit bid. He'll try for 2. No, he'll slam on the brakes and settle for a single. A late swing hit right over the bag. And after Steven Matz went 7 1/3 with a no-hitter, Alexei Ramirez breaks it up with 1 out of the 8th.
And here comes Terry. Oh, what a shame. What a shame. What a performance. He's got John Matlack's number.
Now Steven was magnificent this afternoon. The first Met pitcher since Santana to take a no-hit bid into the 8th. Matz falls just 5 outs short. A brilliant performance this afternoon by Steven Matz. He walked 2, he struck out 8. And had not given up a hit until he took on the veteran shortstop Alexei Ramirez. He got ahead 1-2.
Fastball away, up, Gare, and there's the crux of the biscuit. Keeps it down. He may have him. But you tip your hat to Ramirez. Nice hitting.
Just kept it fair over the bag. Carlos Torres, the first base umpire, right on top of it to make the call. And that's the end of Steven Matz's no-hit bid and his day. The call to the bullpen brought to you by Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center. We'll be right back. Addison Reed on in relief of Steven Matz. Throws a first pitch strike to Derek Norris. Reed worked a 1-2-3 8th inning last night.
And he's just having an all-star year. I mean, if you're going to pick of all the guys that are the bridge to the closer, he has to be the guy you're going to pick from the right side. He's just been fabulous.
Derek Norris is struck out and walked, and he takes a slider down. A ball and a strike. So Matz threw 105 pitches. The game of his big league career so far. Carried a no-hitter to 1 out in the 8th before the Alexei Ramirez opposite field single broke it up. And now he'll hope that Reed and Familia can get him to the finish. 2-1 now to Norris. Wins have been hard to come by for Matz. He was in line for a win in his last start against Arizona, but the bullpen couldn't hold it. He's had just 1 win over his last 10 starts. He's never deserved one more than today. And now Reed behind on Norris, 3-1. Adam Rosales, the second baseman, is on deck. Keep in mind they've got some pretty good left-hand bats in that dugout, including Ryan Schimpf, who had the big first game of this series. And for the 3rd straight at bat, Norris has gone to a full count. Barry Blevins ready if the left-hand bats come up. Ramirez at first and 1 out. 3-2 to Norris. And he fouls it back. Reed a little short on his fastball so far, coming in at 91. Only 92, 93.
But he locates well here. Outfield defense deep, slight shade. Diaza in center field in the opposite field.
So Jose Dominguez up in the Padre bullpen. Again, the 3-2. Popped it up.
Got away with a hanger right there.
Reyes calling. 2 out. So Addison Reed retires Derek Norris on a pop-up. Now 2 out of the inning. And it looks like we'll get Ryan Schimpf as a pinch hitter for Adam Rosales.
No.
So if you're Terry, you've got your left-hander ready in the bullpen. There's no right-handed answer in the Padre dugout. So do you make the move, or do you stick with Addison Reed, who's been so good against lefties and righties?
You've got one of the best relievers this year in the game. I would not second guess him on this, staying with him. I would stay with Reed.
Well, Dan Warthen's going to go out and talk to Reed, so he'll stay in to face Schimpf. So this is mostly a matter of bringing a scouting report on Schimpf, who has been a power machine since coming to the big league.
You want to keep the ball away from him. Remember, he's very compact with his swing, very quick inside with pop. And Reed against right-handers, 79 at bats against him, 190 batting average, only giving up 1 home run. Late in the game, Gene Tennis told me when I was with St. Louis, just away. You want to try to tie the ball game up, you try to pull this pitch on the outside corner.
Schimpf, the 28-year-old rookie, 3 for 8 in this series, including 2 home runs against Logan Verrett on Friday night. He's only had 146 big league at bats, and he's hit 12 home runs. Tying run at the plate in a 2-0 game. Schimpf batting for Rosales. And he takes below the knees, ball 1. Fred Wallace is out on deck to pinch hit if Schimpf keeps the inning going. And a fastball strike, 1-1. Wallace. Ramirez at first and 2 out. And Schimpf lines one the other way, a base hit. And now the Padres will have the tying runs on base. So Ryan Schimpf with his 4th hit in the series. And Brett Wallace will come to the plate.
Ball had a little bit of plate, but he wanted it away. No harm, no foul. Another guy that's a all or nothing hitter, Wallace. He can be pitched to, big swing, keep the ball away.
Well, Terry's going to stick with Reed. Still had Blevins ready, but Addison will face another left-hand batter in Wallace, who's 0 for 2 in this series.
Reed's your man, your go-to guy.
Then why do you have Blevins up in the bullpen in the first place?
Good breaking ball right there, because there's another left-hand hitter. If he gives up another base hit, Jankowski is hit so poorly against a left-hander. I guarantee if he gives up a base hit here, Blevins will come in for Jankowski to pitch to Jankowski.
Otherwise, he can just work on spinning the ball and balancing it on his hand. It's a good skill to have. Slider at the feet of Wallace. 1 ball, 1 strike. Took Reed just 7 pitches to get through a 1-2-3 inning yesterday. A little dicier here, giving up the 2-out hit to Schimpf that puts 2 men on.
It's a dicier situation.
Stayed with the slider, 3 of them in a row, and he gets ahead on Wallace 1-2.
Well, they know that Wallace is a fastball hitter, a dead red hitter.
Ramirez at second, Schimpf at first with 2 out. One and 2 to Brett Wallace. Struck him out. 4 straight sliders, and Addison Reed strikes out Brett Wallace to strand a pair. Brilliant outing by Max, backed up by Reed. And we go to the bottom of the 8th with the Mets up 2-0. Game series. Mets have gone pitching and home runs. That's been their winning formula this year. Steven Matz took a no-hit bid for 7 1/3 before it was broken up. Solo home runs by Wilmer Flores and Neil Walker. Ryan Schimpf stays in the game at second base after pinch hitting, and Jose Dominguez makes his second appearance on the mound in this series.
Well, there are his numbers, and you can see the Padres making a lot of changes in midstream, so to speak. Only 16 games on the year. Done a pretty good job for him. Doesn't walk anybody.
Dominguez had brief big league time with the Dodgers and the Rays before this season. They'll face the top of the Mets batting order in the bottom of the 8th. Well, last night, Mets won with 7 hits and the Padres had only 5. Today, the Mets have only 3 hits and the Padres have but 2. It has been a pitcher series, absent the performance of Logan Barrett on Friday night. Reyes is 0 for 3, looking for his first hit in this series after coming off the DL yesterday. Leonel Campos, after some controlled issues, for 2 hitless innings, walked 2, struck out 2, in relief of Clayton Richard, is on the hook in this game. Ball and a strike to Reyes, with Kelly and Walker to follow in the bottom of the 8th. Jeurys Familia, who blew a save opportunity last night, is up in the Mets bullpen and getting ready for some redemption. Reyes strokes one into right center, and that's down for a base hit. So Reyes has his first hit off the disabled list. The Mets have the leadoff man on in the bottom of the 8th.
Fastball down and away. Let's go with one hand here. A little out in front. Had to reach. Not that bad, really.
Seen him hit a lot of base hits that way over the course of his career.
He's all got tremendous wrists.
Well,
Jose.
certainly be a good time for Jose to steal a base as the Mets bid for some insurance in the 8th.
I would like to see him try to steal the base and then bunt him to third.
Ty Kelly has walked twice, otherwise 0 for 1. Shows bunt and takes up and away.
Solarte, as he's done the whole series, plays really aggressively in at third base. That's okay right now, but he will creep once the pitcher goes into his stretch.
There goes Reyes. The throw by Norris on a hop goes into center field, and Reyes is on his way to third.
There you go.
4th stolen base for Reyes, and for the 2nd straight day, a Padre catcher throws the ball into center field, giving him an extra base.
So for Jose, he's 33 years old. Doesn't have to steal 90 bases, 70 bases anymore. Just pick your spots in a game like this. 9th inning, bottom of the 8th, excuse me. 2-0, close game. That's when you try to steal. Or early in the game, if you got a good ace out there, try to get one early to get a run early. So this is what he brings.
Infield in, and Kelly takes inside, 2-1. Neil Walker waiting on deck. So the Mets with a chance to add to this 2-0 lead with Reyes at third and nobody out. And now 3-1 to Kelly.
And you just don't want to walk in this situation. You want to drive in that run. 3-1. Don't try to pull. Get the sacrifice fly. Big run out there.
Doesn't take a very deep fly ball to get Reyes home. And that's ball 4. It kicks away. Here comes Reyes, and he will score. Reyes dashes home on the wild pitch, and it's 3-0 New York.
Well, there's a manufactured run, Gary. With Jose, forget it.
Well, we started the broadcast tonight talking about the difference that Reyes' speed makes in this otherwise slow-footed Mets lineup. He did it last night. He does it again here in the 8th inning to give the Mets an insurance run. Now Walker the batter after Kelly walks for the 3rd time today.
And this is not enough. Keep that rally rolling. Pour it on.
Walker homered back in the 4th inning. His 21st of the year. Still nobody out in the inning. And Dominguez falls behind 2-0. Well, the Mets are going to Arizona to start a series tomorrow night against the Diamondbacks team that swept them. The Diamondbacks are about to get swept in Boston. They are getting slaughtered this afternoon, 16-1 in the 6th inning at Fenway. Walker lifts one into left. And Dickerson tracks it. 1 out. Of note in that game in Boston, Mookie Betts has hit 3 home runs. It's the 2nd time this year that Betts has hit 3 home runs in a game. There's only one other Red Sox player in the last 100 years who's had 2 3-home run games in a season, and that was Ted Williams. And now Mookie Betts has joined him, and he'll have a chance for a 4th home run today. There's Jay Bruce, who struck out twice and walked 0 for 2.
Well, Jose here scoring. Watch his head here as he turns towards the pitcher. The throw is going to come from the 3rd base dugout side, so he's protecting himself. Now, I will say one thing: I am never an advocate for headfirst sliding, but I am a double anti-advocate, for lack of a better word, of anybody sliding headfirst home plate. Never. With a catcher with shin guards on, always slide feet first.
We'll cut on the arm of Reyes, and a head first slide into second and another into home.
You got to remember, Jose's just rounding into shape, and he's been had a stop here on a DL, so he's just trying to get himself into a rhythm of playing every day again.
Suspended for the first half of the season. Had just begun to get started with the Mets. Started 16 games before he strained an oblique muscle and had to go to the disabled list. And now his 2nd game back. A change up by Dominguez, 2-2.
So Jay right now is out in front, and much what we saw on that prolonged slump from Walker. And when you're in a slump, you get out in front and you work to bring it back and wait longer, and that's where Jay's at right now, trying to get out of that Mirkwood, the forest of Mirkwood and the Hobbit. You got to get out of there. Nothing but spiders and trolls in there.
Mirkwood. It's as oblique a reference as we've had all year. Very nice. Three and 2 to Bruce with 1 out. Kelly at first. He's running, and Bruce fouls it away. Well, after we're done here, coming up on Pix 11 is What Went Down. And on SNY, it's WB Mason post-game live. Mets embark on a 10-game road trip after the game today. 3 in Arizona, 4 in San Francisco, 3 in St. Louis. Starting with Bartolo Colon in Phoenix tomorrow night. Again, Kelly runs. That one's high, ball 4, and the Mets have 2 men on. So the 2nd walk of the inning issued by Dominguez.
7th walk issued by Padres pitchers. Not good.
Andy Green's going to go to his bullpen. Dominguez faced 4 batters, retired only 1 of them. Call to the bullpen brought to you by Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center. 3-0 Mets in the 8th. We'll be right back. Carlos Villanueva comes on for the Padres. First appearance in the series for Villanueva, one of the few veterans left on this San Diego team. Had a great year in St. Louis last year, not so good this year in San Diego. Comes on to face Wilmer Flores with 2 aboard and 1 out. Mets have a run home here in the 8th and lead 3-0. And Wilmer lays off the slider for ball 1. Wilmer got the Mets started back in the 2nd inning with his 12th home run of the year off Clayton Richard. Since then he's walked and popped up 1 for 2. Kelly at second, Bruce at first with 1 out. Flores fouls it off, a ball and a strike. Your old teammate Barry Lyons.
Barry Lyons just came in the booth, and Barry, of course, residing in New Orleans, and I am actually going to go to a New Orleans Saints game on Halloween weekend, and that's going to be 10:30. The Saints are hosting the Seahawks, so I informed Barry that I'm going to be there for 4 days, and that we're going to go out and have dinner together.
Try and stay out of trouble.
Oh, it's easy. You got to watch your wallet. The pickpockets are very adept there.
That's one issue.
I got my pocket picked there one time.
Really?
Yes, I did. I did.
Back pocket, front pocket.
I was with Rusty, and it was Mardi Gras. I went to my only Mardi Gras. I got there late. My flight was delayed, and I had a lot of money. I forgot to take my money out, cash that I had for the weekend, put it in the safe, and someone picked my pocket. Yes, sir. School of Hard Knocks.
Live and learn. Sorry, kid.
I didn't have any credit card, nothing. Think about it. Driver's license.
Flores pops it up, and Myers into foul territory, 2 out.
It's a disaster when you get your pocket picked. It's a disaster. I had to get a new license. I had to cancel my credit card. You know how it goes. I had my Social Security card in there. I had to. Well, that's stupid on my part, but I had to go get a new Social Security card, and you can't change that.
Back pocket?
No, I had it in my front pocket.
Really?
The son of a gun was so good, but it was a big crowd. They know what they're doing. They bump into you. That won't happen again.
You know, it strikes me that because you have such good hands, you'd probably be really good at that.
Well,
maybe that would have been a way to get recompense.
Maybe it was the couple glasses of champagne before I went out. I don't know.
As I say, just one of those problems that you could run into in New Orleans. Curveball in for a strike to T.J. Rivera.
By the way, I love New Orleans, and I'm very anxious. I'm excited about going down to the game and spending the weekend there. I haven't been there in a long time.
Okay, then I have to ask the obvious next question.
Yes.
The Mets are in the World Series. Do you have to cancel your plans?
It's going to be Kurt. Find me.
So you might be doing the pre and post games for the World Series by remote?
No, they won't go that far. I'm sure they won't.
Let's go to Keith in the French Quarter.
Yes. From the Royal Sonesta.
1-2 to Rivera. Looking ahead to the 9th inning, the Padres are at the top of the batting order coming up. Jankowski, Myers, and Solarte. Familia still getting ready, but the Mets getting an alternative ready as well in case they blow this game open. Don't want to pitch Familia on a second straight day in a non-save situation. Right now it would be a save chance with a 3-0 lead. And Rivera strokes one down the line, and that's a fair ball into the corner. Not a safe situation anymore. Kelly is in. Bruce right behind him. It's a 2-run double for T.J. Rivera. His first 2 major league runs batted in. And now the Mets have a 5-0 lead.
Very nice. Came up here hitting .349 in AAA. Gets a slider. Nice wrists. Flips it down that line. Bullet. 2 outs, everybody in motion. Yeah, there you go. Very nice insurance runs.
First career extra base hit, first 2 career RBIs for TJ. Mets have 3 runs home in this 8th inning. And now Alejandro De Aza jumps back and takes a strike. De Aza's 0 for 3 this afternoon, a ground out and 2 strikeouts. Well, the Mets have only 5 hits today, but they've used them well. A couple of solo home runs. And now taking advantage of a couple of walks to score 3 in the 8th. And quickly 0-2 to De Aza.
Well,
all 3 runs charged to Dominguez. He gives up 3 runs, 1 hit, 2 walks, and a wild pitch in a third of an inning. And now Familia has sat down. No longer a save chance.
And that's a good thing.
Terry will not waste him today.
You don't want to have to use him. You want him fresh.
Villanueva strikes out De Aza to end the inning, but the Mets cash 3 in the bottom of the 8th to build a 5-0 lead in the rubber game of the series going to the 9th. Noah made his major league debut, pitched a 1-2-3 inning, got a strikeout, and got a win.
Yes, he did. Trifecta, or whatever it is, you'll take it.
And now he'll look to finish off the shutout for the Mets after Steven Matz carried a no-hit bid into the 8th inning. Noah last night became the first Met pitcher to get a win in his debut in relief since Kenny Greer in 1993. Kenny Greer.
Remember that?
I do very well, and the reason I do is because it was a 17-inning game against the Cardinals, and it was the only game that Kenny Greer ever pitched for the Mets, and the only win of his major league career.
Really? Well, that was when I wasn't. I went into hibernation.
Well, let me tell you something. In 1993, by late in the season, nobody else was watching either. Mets lost 103 games that year.
But it had nothing to do with that. It was just I was retired. It was my 2nd year of retirement. And I went out into the desert and just tried to find myself. I searched.
And what did you find?
Well, I wasn't such a bad guy. I don't know what I found. I just had to get away from the game, which I did for 4 or 5 years.
And while you were away, did you miss it at all?
I did not. But I did not. My career did not end like I wanted it to. It ended with injury, and not everybody can have a storybook ending like Ted Williams, Derek Jeter,
Alex Rodriguez.
So I don't think that's a storybook ending. I think there's a lot of bitterness there with Alex a little bit.
He did get a double in his last game, though.
But Jeter, I mean, those kind of endings of your career, are just, I think, ordained. Very few get those.
Right. Very few people go out on their own terms.
Right.
Usually it's somebody telling you they don't want you anymore. Jankowski strikes out. So Noah picks up where he left off last night, getting a strikeout of his first batter.
Look at that. Look at a total breakdown of that swing. See the hands come in. It's a flaw in the swing right there, which will be exploited.
The good thing, Keith, is that in your second career, you'll get to decide for yourself.
You think?
Well, I hope.
Well, I've almost self-destructed a few times, you know.
Yeah, but you've survived. So.
Yeah. But I don't
doesn't
ever
kill
think
you, makes you stronger.
I don't think I'm the Teflon Don here.
0-2 to Myers. I think you'll get the farewell tour of this stuff.
No.
Here's the 0-2. And it's hooked toward the hole. A base hit for Myers, who had struck out in his first 3 at bats and finally gets himself aboard with 1 out of the 9th.
How long is the flight to Phoenix? 4.5 hours?
Yeah,
4?
something like that. If you gain 3 hours.
Yeah, so we'll land around 7. Dinner hour. Probably be around 101 by then. Think about it. Dry heat, though.
You know, I am partial to the humid heat.
I am not.
Here's the way I look at it. You either have the choice of walking into a warm bowl of soup or walking into a blast furnace. I'll take the soup.
I'll take the blast furnace.
Okay.
Well, I'm from California, and you're from, the Northeast.
Myers runs. They let him go on defensive indifference. Yeah, but in California, where you're from, it's never 120.
Oh, we had some Indian summers. There was no air conditioning when I was a kid. I mean, my dad was a fireman. We were middle class. And
Solarte pulls one into right for a base hit. And Myers will be waved home with the Padres' first run of the day, so that breaks up the shutout. It's now 5-1 New York. And that'll get Familia back to work in the bullpen.
Yes, it will. And something that Terry would like not to see, not have to use Jay Arias and have Ynoa finish up here. But the Indian summers, we won't get away from the game because it's getting a little dicey here. But every October, not every, would be the one time of the year you'd have 2 weeks of like 95-degree weather in San Francisco. And you had no AC, and you'd sleep in the bed, and you'd be sweating, and you couldn't sleep.
Really?
Telling.
Dickerson pops it up. Reyes measures it. 2 out. You mean in San Francisco in the city, or are you talking about in the East Bay?
Talking about, I grew up on the coast in Pacifica, where it would get that way, and in Millbrae, which is right across from the airport in the West Bay. It was very unusual weather, and you'd get thunderstorms. You'd never get thunderstorms in San Francisco. Okay, that's enough of that.
Padres are down to their final out. Jabari Blash, the batter. Blash is 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts today. And Ynoa misses outside for ball 1. Now the story today for the Mets, Steven Matz. Longest no-hit bid for a Met pitcher since Johan Santana went the distance in 2012. Matz went 7 1/3 before he gave up a hit. Alexi Ramirez broke it up with a 1-out single. Matz left the game at that point. Addison Reed got the final 2 outs in the 8th, and now Ynoa trying to finish it off in the 9th. 1-1 to Blash, and he fouls it back, and now the Padres are down to their final strike. It's a homestand that began poorly for the Mets. 4 straight losses, 3 to Arizona, and then the opening game of this series to San Diego. But the Mets fought their way back on Friday night, fell short, scratched out an 11th inning win yesterday, and now on the verge of taking the rubber game. 1-2 coming. It's up and away. 2-2 to Blash. Alexi Ramirez, who broke up Matz's no-hit bid, would be next. 2-2 from Manoah. That's too high, full count. Well, one more base runner would create a save situation. And Familia is ready if needed. Flores tells Manoah he's going to play behind Solarte at first. He'll be running on the 3-2 pitch. Little number to the right side. Flores has it. The flip. Manoah's got it. And the ball game is over. The Mets take the rubber game of the series from San Diego. Steven Matz, the story, carried a no-hitter till 1 out in the 8th. And the Mets take 2 of 3 from San Diego as they beat the Padres today 5-1.
Well, they got the Padres backside of their rotation, and they come back and take 2 out of 3 of the series. Matz was just absolutely spectacular. I had a shot at a no-no. Gave up the base hit in the 8th inning. 7 1/3 without a hit. Was broken up by Alexi Ramirez on a line drive, or actually a hard hit ground ball down the right field line. Reed and Yanoa come in and clean it up, but Matt's a really brilliant performance.
Well, a much-needed series victory for the Mets after getting swept by Arizona. They take 2 of 3 from San Diego. The game summary brought to you by the Dodge Summer Clearance Event. It moves the Mets back over 500 for the season. Matz was magnificent. 105 pitches, struck out 8, walked 2, allowed just the 1 hit with 1 out in the 8th inning as he made a bid for the Mets' second ever no-hitter and came up just 5 outs short. Mets win this one 5-1. We'll come back with more from Citi Field in a moment.